not for long. They cannot outrun the long arm of the law. In these regards, the words of former President Ramon Magsaysay ring fresh and relevant today as the day they were said decades ago. He said, "We need men of integrity and faith like Rizal and Del Pilar, men of action like Bonifacio, men of inflexible patriotism like Mabini. We need their zeal, their self-reliance, and their capacity to work, their devotion to service, and their ability to lose themselves in the common cause of building a nation. If we allow greed and self-interest and ambition to rule us, then, as stated by one prominent physician, we will be left with nothing better than the lesser evil instead of the greater good." In my inaugural address 4 years ago, I said that no leader can succeed at anything of national importance without significance unless he has the cooperation and support of the people he is tasked to lead and sworn to serve. The efforts and resources which we poured out produced the momentum needed to bring our country closer to our goals. Suffice it to state, we made significant strides over time. Over 4.3 million poor families benefited from the Pantawid Pamilya. Over 92.2 million beneficiaries received subsidies under the unconditional cash transfer program. We also made available tertiary education and universal health care. Public utility drivers were given assistance to the Pantawid Pasada program. There are complaints that some drivers did not receive any assistance at all. I have directed the SWD and DILG to look into this. I welcome the passage of the law postponing the barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. The postponement saved much-needed government funds and ensured the implementation of projects under the current barangay officials. In the hindsight, it also saved us from holding the polls while we dealt and continued to deal with the pandemic. The Malasakit Centers Act has proven to be a great help to our less fortunate citizens needing medical services through one-stop platform in government hospitals. We commend the initiative and work of Senator Bongo in this regard, as well as other significant pieces of legislation as of today. There are 75 Malasakit centers serving Filipinos all over the country. These centers will be of great help in ensuring that our people remain healthy and resilient during these challenging times. The Salary and Standardization Law of 2019 increases the salaries of civilian government workers. I hope that this law will inspire our government workers to perform better and encourage young, brilliant citizens to join public service. I appreciate the law of establishing the National Academy of Sports. We can now give our deserving student athletes the training and the support they need to excel in their chosen field of endeavors. With the commitment of key members of Congress, the Executive Department, the FISGOC, or the Philippine Sports Commission, and the Philippine Olympic Committee, we're bound together with one vision to host the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Our athletes prevailed. More than that, we fostered pride, patriotism, genuine sportsmanship, and camaraderie in our South Asian brothers and sisters. Indeed, we won as one. To our business community and the general public, we assure you that the landmark ease of doing business and efficient government service delivery act has been gaining momentum. We are closer to eliminating over-regulation in government services. Frontline processes, including consular services, processing of building and business permits, and the services of overseas Filipinos and seafarers were streamlined. Passports and driver's license validity were lessened to ease the burden of the public. We received a BBB plus credit rating despite ASEAN credit rating downgrades and negative outlook revisions in the worldwide. The Japan Credit Rating Agency upgraded us from BBB plus to A minus last month. Meanwhile, Moody's has affirmed and maintained the country's ratings at Baa2 rather. To understand, because of the light, I have mine eyesight is not as good as new. Our fiscal position is strong, our economic fiscal management prudent, and our banking system robust. We are in a better position to weather the crisis caused by COVID-19 global pandemic. We have accomplished significant infrastructure projects under the Build, Build, Build program. I will not dwell lengthily on the nitty-gritty of our infrastructure accomplishments now, lest I bore you. Instead, we will release a comprehensive written report of our collective milestones and the details of accomplishments that remind us that perseverance, patience, determination will help us move forward even in the most difficult times. We issued last year the Executive Order number 100, establishing the Diversity and Inclusion Program as national program of the government. We want to end discrimination of persons on the basis of age, disability, ethnicities, sexual orientation, and gender identity and expression, and other character traits. My administration always believed that freedom from illegal drugs, terrorism, corruption and criminality is itself a human right violation. Part of our efforts to uphold human rights is protection of the rights of children and the right against discrimination. Early last year, I signed Executive Order number 92, creating the National Council Against Child Labor. Government efforts to protect the rights of children will be amplified to prevent, reduce, and eliminate any form of child labor. Our achievements along this line will have been extolled by an overwhelming number of fellow member states in the UN Human Rights Council during its recently held 44th session last June. Rest assured that we will not dodge our obligation to fight for human rights. My countrymen, there are lessons to be learned from the coronavirus pandemic. It jolted us to realize that gains made after spending so much planning, effort, cost, and time could